Good morning, everyone. Sorry about the late start there. Having a little issue with Discord. I don't know. Worked great every day up until now. Well, have a couple things we want to go through here. Hope you guys are having a good morning. I'm going to go through what happened yesterday, and it's not really surprising what happened yesterday, right? You didn't need me to tell you this. The expectation was for the market to chop around. And then once the FOMC announcement or the meeting minutes were released, that's probably when we were going to see some type of more appreciable move in the market. And that's what we got. So, the FOMC minutes came out at 2 Eastern, which is 1 p.m. Central here. And that was kind of the beginning of the first kind of breakout, if you will, through all the morning chop here. And it pushed to a lower low. And this is very typical after a news event, is to have somewhat of a directional move that goes ahead and flips its hat and goes ahead and pops out. So there was some really great price action at the end of the day. But let's go ahead and look at what happened here in the morning, or at least for the first few hours. So the main, and I thought I had some things highlighted on the chart here, and now they're not here. Okay, well, lots of technical difficulties here this morning. So we've had our roadmap level up here at 84, right? 84 held, except for this one pop through, held for some really great opportunities. I mean, there was one beautiful opportunity for about 10 points. Second opportunity brought you right down to the previous daily low there for a really nice push. The third time, we got a really nice push all the way down below that, and that was the beginning of the move right after the FOMC. And then we got this pop out, and when the pop happened, it came right back to that 84 half level, and it had trouble once, twice, and then finally got through, and then we went ahead and got a double bottom right off the hopeful for the push higher. So there were some decent holds from our levels. And let me just make sure that area I shaded above is there. Okay, so we had the shaded area above, the shaded area below. So down below us, we had a main pocket of support, right? So we have levels that make sense for support, and then we have zones that are typically a little bit stronger for support and resistance. So down below us, we had 54 to 59, and up above us, coming into yesterday's market, we had 50.13 to 50.19. So those were the two big pockets on the higher time frames. If we were to go over to our 60-minute chart, there's that pocket 13 to 19, and here's this pocket 54 to 59. So the low of the day happened to be the top end of that pocket. So we sold off. There's the beginning of the FOMC reaction, I guess. Started to sell off. We got a nice stair step down and came right to 59. I think it was even 59 to the tick. So pretty good price action even inside of all the chop. And another thing to note here is that the VWAP all morning here, if you were to just scrutinize all the rotations, they were basically all VWAP. We held VWAP to the downside. We got above it. We held it to the upside. We got below it. We held it to the downside multiple times. Got back above it, held it to the upside. You get the idea, right? We came down, there's our roadmap level, and came back to VWAP. Then we got a peek through, but then held, and then finally got back above it and bounced to try to hold above it again. And then from there, that began, again, the news event, the FOMC minutes, and then that was the pullback, right? So we came all the way down. The low of the day was the top end of our major zone of support. And then we began this rally up, and this was really the main move from the news. That was probably the fake out to get everybody on the bearish side, and then they took it back up. And then it was a very, very aggressive push at the end of the day. So we didn't get pullbacks into every level because the bulls were just strong enough that they didn't allow the market to really pull back very much. So we got this really strong push. It didn't even pull back deep enough to really test into the FMA, which is kind of our most aggressive support level for trading. And so it was very, very aggressive. The double bottom was pretty sexy there. And then we come right up into 50% of the previous day, and notice what happens. It was a scaffolding level. Scaffolding is an area of higher time frame support and resistance. And we just petered out, had a lot of trouble, and then finally pulled back to 200 moving average, textbook pullback, popped up. And then what was the high towards the end of the day there, right around the close? The bottom end of our next pocket, 50.13. So we came up, I guess the high was 50.14 or 14 quarter, one of those, 14 quarter. And then we got a pullback to try to retest into VWAP there. And as you can see, they just cannot hold below VWAP, and then went ahead and popped it up to the top end of our pocket. And that's why I tell you guys, if you're trading around these major zones that we highlight on the chart, the top end and the bottom end, or whichever way you want to look at it, the two extremes are where you're going to have the least amount of risk on a trade. So if it's not going to hold the bottom end of it, then more than likely the top end would be the next least amount of risk for a trade setup. And what do you know? It holds the first one. We get the pullback to VWAP, and it pops and holds the second one for this little pullback at the end of the day, and then it holds FMA for the final pop. So again, despite it being choppy all morning, we still were holding these roadmap levels nearly perfectly to the tick. On the lows here, we were holding right around 72. On the highs, we were holding right at 84 here. Then we parried right off of the previous daily low, and then finally right off the top end of our major support zone down here from 54 to 59. And then when the breakout happened, what do you know? The biggest pullback of the day was right off our next major expected resistance area. So pretty good stuff if you ask me. We even got a pullback to come in and test one or two ticks in front of 72 once again. So pretty good stuff. And then last night, as you guys know, we just had a continuation of this relentless bullish push. There was a really nice textbook pullback right to the VWAP there. Again, a great opportunity before everyone was going to bed there, where you could have grabbed this beautiful. Look at the divergence as this was pulling back into VWAP in a strong market, breaking out to test the all-time high. Look at that. I mean, and actually, it's really from here, right over in here, basically a double bottom, but you have this extreme push down on RVI. So beautiful opportunity there last night, and all you had to do was buy VWAP, and you would be up 30 points as of now. Actually, I'm sorry, you'd be up a lot more than that. You'd be up almost 40 points or something like that right now with really nothing. You just put the trade on off VWAP, and you'd be up 30, 40 points. In the overnight session, got the continued push, and really nothing else notable to mention here other than it's been just a relentless push up until the last, say, hour or two, where we're starting to kind of peter out. Just in front of that first extension level we had up on the chart, which is what happened if we were to scroll back to the all-time high we made back a week or two ago. So we pushed right up and failed just in front of that first extension, our target to the upside for the bulls. And now if you look at where we are right now, interestingly enough, we just pulled back from that very same level. All right, so that's where we're at right now. That was the 30-minute chart. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames.